And I just kind of want to talk to you guys about why I think you should learn to code. You're probably not at the point in your lives where you're too worried about choosing a career yet, but I want to talk to you about why I think you should consider coding, software development, and things like that, or even just as a hobby. So I'm going to go over why, and then I'm going to show you some ways of how you can kind of start getting into it. And then talk a little bit about how you can start making some money from it, which is the most important thing, right? So, who am I, for a start? So, I've had a pretty good intro there, but I'm from a Wellington-based software company called Provoke Solutions, and I lead up one of our development teams there, and I'm the architect for our biggest client, which is the ANZ Bank as well. Started learning about coding when I was probably third form, actually, back at Lytton in what was meant to be a typing class. We started mucking around with the computers, as I'm sure you guys do. Not that interested in the actual curriculum. And yeah, so I got into that, carried on, went to Vic, got a degree there. Actually picked up a certificate in business management here at the Wānanga on my way as well. So yeah, started at Provoke as a grad, been there for 6 years, where we've kind of built the company from about 30 people where I started to over 100, and we've got some offices in Auckland, Manila, Seattle, and Singapore now as well. So that's kind of where I'm at. So first of all, why would you want to learn how to program a computer? Why learn to code? So the main reason, like I've talked about before, is getting paid well. So software developers do get paid really well. So that's just a quick snippet of Trade Me this morning. So that's the median pay, 95 grand for a developer, well, in IT. And then that ranges up to some pretty big numbers. So you guys are probably better at the math than I am, but you can figure out what hourly rate that is. It's pretty good pay. And on top of that, there's a huge shortage of developers out there now. We can't find enough people. All of the software companies in Wellington can't find enough people that are good at coding. So if you want to get paid well, and you want reasonably guaranteed work, 2 pretty good reasons to get into it. But more than that, though, is the lifestyle. Coding you can kind of do from anywhere because it is sort of all online. So if you want to work at the beach, then great, people can do that. But kind of more importantly than that, here in Gisborne, being quite isolated and remote, you know, that's not an excuse or a roadblock to not kind of play on the same level as the rest of the world and compete at that level. So, you know, that barrier is not there. So whether or not you do like working on the beach, which is good, or just you want to sort of stay living in Gisborne, you know, Gisborne's not just your audience for these jobs. Another good reason is a lot of people actually really enjoy it. So especially if you're someone that's kind of enjoys building things, good with your hands, like pulling things apart, putting them back together. In my spare time, I build old cars, and it's the same thought process, like ripping apart an engine, figuring out how it's working, figuring out what I need to do to make it better. It's the same as ripping apart some software and doing that. So if you're quite a logical thinker and you like just building stuff, then it's a good career move for you. And another thing which is kind of overlooked is it's really not that hard. You just have to be quite motivated to learn all the things. So yeah, I mean, it gets a rep. I think development is like, I don't know what kind of all that sort of stuff is, but it's really not difficult. And the cool thing as well is that a lot of people have big ideas and, you know, always get approached by people. I've got this idea for a website, I've got this idea for an app, blah, blah, blah. Can you help me build it? Learning to code gives you that skill set to be able to actually build stuff that you want to build. And yeah, it just kind of makes the world more accessible to you, I feel. So yeah, things to consider there. A few good check boxes for a career path. So anyway, how do you start getting into it? I don't know, who here has actually done any sort of programming related stuff or has made any websites or blogs or anything? Few people? Had a dabble? Yeah. Okay, good. So for those of you that are completely cold to the idea, have no idea about coding, it's this really great website called Scratch. So Scratch is made by MIT in the States, and it's an online interface. You just sign up and you can kind of drag and drop sort of code together. So you can learn how to code without actually having to write any code, which is great because it teaches you kind of all the stuff like variables and conditional logic, recursion, and stuff that sounds way more complicated than it is once you actually just drop it in and figure out how that works. So really good resource. One of my developers, she's got a 7-year-old son, and he's been on there making like games and things like that. So, you know, if a 7-year-old can do it, I'm pretty sure you guys are capable of having a play. And it's fun because you can share your games that you make with your friends and all that kind of stuff too. I'm sure you guys are all into Facebook and all those kind of social sort of things. So make some games, share them around, tinker with your mates' games and stuff. Really easy way just to get stuck in, which is cool. So a little bit further than that, there's a thing called the Code Academy. So that's like an online resource, so you don't need to download anything. You can just jump on and you just go, this is the homepage, and you just start straight away. I think it says something like, you know, type in your name, and it just kind of builds you right into it. You don't have to download anything. Yeah, all the lessons are online, and it's all free as well. So that's worth sort of checking out if you want to start tinkering and just kind of easing into it. Yeah, another great online resource I'd recommend is the Khan Academy. So Khan Academy is pretty much an online free sort of university. So that's just khanacademy.com, and the coding ones are /CS. So all their lessons are delivered via videos, and a lot of it's just the guy sort of hand drawing, talking it through, you know, obviously all different levels and stuff. I know I don't work very well from a textbook. I'm definitely more want someone to show me how it works, or, you know, have a muck around kind of guy. So Khan Academy is great for that. So yeah, I recommend getting there. The most important thing though is just finding something that works for you. So just explore, like, you know, use Google and stuff. If you find a particular online resource that is teaching you and you're enjoying it, then great, go with that. Because I think to be good at it, you have to enjoy it. So find the way that you get enjoyment out of it, and then you'll become good at it. So anyway, once you've learned all that stuff, you probably want to start thinking about, how can I start making some money? So you're probably even at your guys' age, you know, you can start getting in there, making some bits and pieces, making some money. So a couple of really easy, accessible ways to do that. Well, actually, before we get to that, go the traditional route, you know, go to uni, get your degree, and then, like we talked about before, plenty of jobs out there. So this is off TradeMe this morning as well. 304 current programming listings on TradeMe. So just kind of backing up what I said, there is a shortage of people. So that's the kind of traditional way. You can go and work for a company. But you might want to start sort of tinkering a bit before that and getting a bit of extra pocket money. So a good way to do that. Mobile apps, I'm sure you guys all play on iPhones and things like that. No, not yet. I'm sure some of you do. So iPhones, Androids, Windows phones, all that, they all have really sort of supported developer communities, and you can build some really basic apps. Like, you know, people make like $1 million off making a fart app and stuff like that. So, you know, it's not hugely complicated stuff, and it's really accessible. It's just a person sitting at home, hacked up a few lines of code, and then the stores are there to publish. It's all supported. You don't need to worry so much about all the business side. You just publish your app. The app store will take their cut, and then you can start making your money. which is all good. Another way you can start making a bit of money early on is just making websites and things for friends. I remember when I was at school, I used to get asked, and I did end up making a lot of just websites and little things for people. They don't have to be hugely complicated. Like, you don't have to build the next Facebook tomorrow. Like, there's a lot of people that just need like a simple site to get their business online. And now with tools like WordPress and things like that, you can actually get sites online without having to do any coding at all, almost. So yeah, it's really accessible just to get on, start making some stuff. What else have we got? Xbox One. So who here plays games? Yeah, a few? Great. Good. Who'd like to potentially make some games? Anyone? Great. So with the Xbox One, they're creating a really supportive development community. So you can make some games, publish it straight to your Xbox, and then share it in the store with your friends and things. So really supported environment and tools and all the sort of training and stuff like that. So if you get an Xbox One when it finally comes out, that, you know, if games are what you enjoy and that's a way for you to learn, there's plenty of money in making games, but even just learning the principles across all of these different ways are the same. So really good way to learn, like, hopefully when that finally comes out. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys a quick video which will kind of reiterate some of what I've said. So hopefully you guys haven't already seen it, and I apologise if you had. Let's just see if this works.
I was 13 when I first got access to a computer. My parents bought me a Macintosh in 1984 when I was 8 years old.
I was in 6th grade.
I learned to code in college. Freshman year, first semester, intro to computer science.
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I think it was pretty humble beginnings. I think the first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
The first time I actually had something come up and say, hello world, and I made a computer do that. It was just astonishing.
Learning how to program didn't start off as wanting to learn all of computer science or trying to master this discipline or anything like that. It just started off because I wanted to do this one simple thing. I wanted to make something that was fun for myself and my sisters. And I wrote this little program, and then basically just add a little bit to it. And then when I needed to learn something new, I looked it up, either in a book or on the internet, and then added a little bit to it.
It's really not unlike kind of playing an instrument or something, or playing a sport. It starts out being very intimidating, but you kind of get the hang of it over time.
Coding is something that can be learned, and I know it can be intimidating. A lot of things are intimidating, but you know, what isn't?
A lot of the coding that people do is actually fairly simple. It's more about the process of breaking down problems than sort of coming up with complicated algorithms as people traditionally think about it.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to code. You need to be determined.
Addition, subtraction, that's about it.
You should probably know your multiplication tables.
You don't have to be a genius to code. Do you have to be a genius to read?
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball, or build a house, all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
What it is, computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work in manufacturing? It's just all over.
Here we are, 2013.
all depend on technology to communicate, to bank, information, and none of us know how to read and write code.
When I was in school, I was in this after-school group called the Whiz Kids, and when people found out, they laughed at me and, all these things. And I'm like, man, I don't care. I think it's cool, and, I'm learning a lot, and some of my friends have jobs.
Our policy is literally to hire as many talented engineers as we can find. The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
To get the very best people, we try to make the office as awesome as possible.
You have a fantastic chef,
Free food,
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
free laundry.
Snacks, even places to play and video games and scooters. There's all these kind of interesting things around the office and places where people can play or relax or go to think or play music or be creative.
Whether you're trying to make a lot of money or whether you just want to change the world, computer programming is an incredibly empowering skill to learn.
I think if someone had told me that software is really about humanity, that it's really about helping people by using computer technology, it would have changed my outlook a lot earlier.
To be able to actually come up with an idea and then see it in your hands and then be able to press a button and have it be in millions of people's hands. I think we're the first generation in the world that's really ever had that kind of experience.
Just to think that you can start something in your college dorm room and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
I think it's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
So the important thing to remember is those guys are just people that had some ideas and then decided to learn a bit of code as well, and now they run some of the biggest brands in the world, and they obviously have a lot of fun doing it. So I think that's really the power of learning to code and software. It's really not the old stereotype of like a bunch of geeks sitting in a cubicle now. And also I think for women as well, those stereotypes have been broken down a lot. So I've gone to the Vic Uni Careers Day for the last 4 years, and each year there have been far more women or girls going through computer science, which is great for the industry because the software we build is used equally by males and females, so that's important as well. But yeah, the important thing to remember is just start building something. And that's me. If you've got an idea for a great app, give me an email and then we'll see what we can do. Anyone got any questions? No?
What was the good application that you built?
So I think the first proper app I built was a game in VBA in Microsoft Word, which was like a little clip art animals would fly towards you and you'd have to click on them to kill them before they got to you. So that was what we did in our typing class. So pretty simple, but it was pretty cool. Like the levels would change, the backgrounds and stuff. Yeah. Anyone else? All good. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening.